the northern coast of Ulster. A pleasant place with its variegated coastline, the bristling columns of the famous Giant's Causeway, and the smooth white strands endlessly swept by the rollers of the Atlantic. Outside the fishing ports and holiday resorts of Port Stewart and Port Rush, in the delightful rural area which lies inland to the south, it is agricultural work which occupies most of the local people, a patient, unruffled activity, harmonizing perfectly with the peace of the surrounding countryside. Year in, year out the work goes on, pursuing its even tenor without disturbing the tranquility, and the Irish countryside sleeps on. Once a year, the silence is broken. For the local people, and for many more besides, it's to the races. Yes, they're rolling the pitch, but not for cricket. For this is Ireland, the land where motorcycle racing is almost a national pastime, the land which has produced men like Joe Craig, Alec Bennett, Stanley Woods, Artie Bell, Reg Armstrong. This is Ulster, the only part of the United Kingdom, apart from the Isle of Man, where races are held on public roads. Here in May each year come the men whose business is the Northwest 200, the fastest road race in Ireland and one of the oldest, first held in 1929. Coming early in the season, before the Isle of Man TT, it is often used by manufacturers as a testing ground for the latest machines, and many a famous model has made its first appearance on this course. Many a famous rider, too, has learned the finer points of racing on this Irish circuit, for the Northwest 200 is one of the few international events professional riders race side by side with private entrants and novices. This year, the favourite is a private entrant, Bob McIntyre of Glasgow, with his Norton tuned and entered by fellow Scotsman Joe Potts. But McIntyre is no novice, for in 1955 he was second in the Junior TT. Nor is Jeff Tanner from London, who won both Manx Grand Prix the same year. Jeff Duke is a non-starter, but has entered Alan Rutherford. Dennis Christian comes from the Isle of Man. So does Works AJS rider Derek Endant in the junior race with Scotsman Alistair King and Jimmy Buchan. Sammy Miller, the up-and-coming Irish boy, Bob Keeler from Middlesex, and Eric Hinton from Australia, son of the famous Harry Hinton, are all in the lightweight race. Jeff Duke has also entered this beautifully streamlined Velocette to be ridden by young Jackie Wood. In all, there are 68 starters, 26 in the senior race, 33 in the junior, and 9 in the lightweight. The riders take their places for the start of practice, which will decide the all-important grid positions for the race itself. As practicing begins, let's take a look at this triangular 11-mile circuit. After the start at Port Stewart, the first bend is that tight left-hander, Henry's Corner. No room for mistakes here. If you make one, you're in the sea. Opening up now on the slight upgradient of Port Stewart Promenade, and then we head inland along the fast but tricky 4-mile straight towards the Milburn hairpin at Coleraine. Next, a quick right-left swerve over the railway line at Shell Hill Bridge. even faster 4-mile straight follows, a real engine buster, leading north to Port Rush, round Metropole Corner, and back along the seafront to Port Stewart. 11 miles, 110 yards, and last year Jeff Duke left it at 99.98 miles per hour. At 6 o'clock on race morning, all is still. Silent, waiting, ready for the tumult to come. By midday, the bustle has commenced, and the stage is set for the 20th Northwest 200. The machines are ready, the riders are ready, the spectators are ready. The official car sets off around the course to close the roads, and the riders start their engines to walk the road. Walker and Billy McMaster wait to go on the air, and with 1 minute to flagfall, the riders are tense. Bob McIntyre, Jimmy Drysdale, Louis Carter, Derek Ennett, Eric Hinton, Mick O'Rourke, Sammy Miller, Wilfie Hearn. Till the juniors get away, with 1 lap less to cover. Now it's the lightweight's turn, and Sammy Miller, the local favorite, just can't get his bike to fire. McIntyre, Esleby, Tanner, Drysdale, and the rest of the 500s rocket through Lark Hill, 1.5 miles from the start. It's raining now, and wet roads add to the dangers of first-lap unfamiliarity with the course. Now the 350s sweep through, fighting like wildcats. Alistair King is there, and Jimmy Buchan, and Ralph Renson, and Arthur Wheeler. Derek Ennett has made a bad start, but he's riding like a demon to make up lost time. Eric Hinton leads the 250s through with John Horn and Jimmy Hearn, and Sammy Miller is catching up hand over fist. Bob Keeler is soon to retire, so are Bill Webster, Harry Kirby, and Bill Dehaney. Before half the course has been covered, McIntyre is well ahead of the other 500s, and between Port Rush and Port Stewart, he has more than 10 seconds in hand. At the end of the first lap, he's way out in front, with a lead of 12 seconds over the others. Second is Bill Esleby from New Zealand. Then Jeff Tanner, the high-speed gardener from Walthamstow, and fourth is Scotsman Jimmy Drysdale, really heaving on that twist grip. In the 350 class, King, Buchan, Renson, Wheeler, and Ennett are all there. It's a monumental battle between them. At Lark Hill, on the second lap, Bob Anderson, a new dark horse from Bedford, has come up to pass Jeff Tanner. And Jimmy Buchan has dropped out of the 350 struggle, leaving the first three King, Renson, and Ennett. pole corner in Portrush, race leader McIntyre has increased his advantage to more than 30 seconds. But Bill Esleby has now crashed. And second place is held by Drysdale, with Anderson and Tanner mighty close behind. The smooth perfection of McIntyre's riding. See him round Henry's, one of the trickiest corners on the circuit. So the race goes on, and the Scottish boy continues to increase his lead. But it isn't a fellow Scot who's leading the rest of the pack now, for Drysdale has fallen right back. And as McIntyre crosses Shell Hill Bridge for the fourth time, it's Bob Anderson next at Milburn, 36 seconds behind the leader. Third man is Jeff Tanner. Jimmy Drysdale is now fourth. And fifth is Ellis Boyce from Shropshire. And now Derek Innett shoots past Alistair King to lead the 350s, while in the 250 class only 1 second separates Eric Hinton, 92, and Sammy Miller, 87. These two have been scrapping since the flag fell, clocking exactly the same lap time again and again, and shattering the old lightweight lap record. The two streamlined NSUs continue their duel, and the crowd's delighted as they stay glued together for lap after lap. Lap 9, and McIntyre is leading the race by more than 80 seconds from Anderson, who has been delayed by a pit stop to refuel. McIntyre seems all set to win. With his special tanks, he can finish the race non-stop. But now the crowd sees drama indeed. One of McIntyre's pannier tanks has developed a leak. All the other 500s have already refueled. But while they race on, McIntyre, the favourite, the one man who didn't have to stop, is at the pits, trying desperately to patch up that leaking tank. He's losing time, a lot of time. And Bob Anderson's in front. He's a full 50 seconds ahead of McIntyre now, while third man Jeff Tanner is far behind. What a situation. McIntyre can lap faster than Anderson. In fact, he's catching up rapidly. But can he make up all the time lost at that unexpected pit stop? And can he last out the race distance with a leaking fuel tank? But that's motorbike racing for you. Amusement indeed. Many competitors have had to retire, but new boy Anderson still leads the race, and the veteran McIntyre still hasn't managed to catch him despite all his efforts. Now Anderson has only 3 laps to go. McIntyre is 29 seconds behind, making up about 7 seconds each lap. 7 times 3 is 21, not 29. It looks as if McIntyre's hopes of victory, once so confident, are now dwindled away to nothing. Another stroke of fate here. Sammy Miller leads the lightweights, for Eric Hinton has had a tumble and now lies 30 seconds behind the Irish rider. Only 3 runners left in this class: Miller, Hinton and Jimmy Heron. Ralph Renson is trying hard to reduce the 50 seconds advantage of the 350 leader, Ennett, while behind him, the third man, King, is really getting moving again after several slow laps. Eric Hinton, too, is trying desperately to catch up after his spill. Anderson still leads by 16 seconds at Coleraine on the last lap but 1, and just when McIntyre needs a completely clear road if he's to have any chance at all of winning, it seems that everything gets in his way. Absolutely everything. There again, it is well ahead of the other 350s, but Renson is doing everything he can to get to grips with him and using all of the road to do it. So the race draws to its close. The checkered flag is only 1 mile ahead for the 250 leader, Sammy Miller, but Bob McIntyre still has another whole lap to cover. Anderson is still 14 seconds in front, and he's going to take an awful lot of catching. And here's Bob Anderson, the new boy from Bedfordshire, who has brought his privately entered Norton home first in this 200-mile international race. Riding magnificently, he has seized the chance which came to him when McIntyre had that unexpected pit stop, and having once gained that advantage, he has held on to it with the tenacity and skill of a far more experienced rider. McIntyre has been unlucky, but that's the way it is in racing, the uncertainty which gives the little man the impetus to keep on trying. First the speed, then the silverware. Young Bob Anderson receives his trophy from Pat Duke, wife of last year's winner. And a delighted Irish crowd cheers Sammy Miller, the local rider who had won that terrific duel in the lightweight race. The race is won, the tumult is over, and peace returns to Port Stewart until next year.